This comes to us from Game Developer. They said Frost Giant CEO Tim Morten says layoffs are possible after Stormgate underperforms. The real-time strategy title currently has fewer concurrent players at launch than it did during early access, which is never a great sign for a game that is coming out that's new with high expectations and lots of money put into it. We're talking over $36 million poured into this game. Frost Giant Studios CEO and production director Tim Morten has warned the indie studio might need to contract to survive after its debut project Stormgate underperformed. Industry veteran Morten, who previously managed production on the StarCraft franchise at Blizzard before leaving to establish Frost Giant Studios in 2020, spoke to game developer at Gamescom 2025 and confirmed that Stormgate is seriously struggling after exiting early access on Steam. So before we go on, I brought this up over on SteamDB because I was curious. And yeah, that's not great. I mean, this is the last week. 185 players concurrently right now over the past 1 year, or we'll just do max, which is basically a year ago. The all-time peak was around 5,000, just under 5,000. And you see the two different spikes there when it kicked up July 2024 and then August 2024, and then right back down to basically no one. And when I see a game do this, this tells me that the hype was there and there was an audience that wanted to play the game, and the game was not good and it was not ready. And there were frustrations at the start, and you lost your audience, and they are now gone. And when it launches here, they don't come back. Not great, not great. And we're going to get into the numbers, though. In a candid conversation about the current state of play, Morten said Stormgate peaked at around 1,000 concurrent players on Steam at launch, which is significantly less than the 5,000 it managed to hit during early access. We're at 20% of what we saw during early access, and that is not a sustainable place for us to be. 20% is giving it credit. Again, they're saying that they're at 20%. No, they hit 20%. Now it's right back to where it was before that. They're giving themselves a little too much credit saying that it's at 20%. I think if it was at 20%, that would be at least able to help them sustain it. Discussing what that partnership might take shape, Morten was adamant the foundational elements of Stormgate show a clear potential and said the studio could leverage its tools and experience to give partners interested in building RTS games a huge head start. And this is the game, by the way, just in case you guys are wondering what Stormgate is. This is concerning. On Steam, it's got mixed reviews, 5,000, and recently mixed reviews, 800. Not great. Not great. Let's see. This is, I'll show this while I'm talking here. There are some big IPs that would make a lot of sense to turn into a RTS. So there are a lot of conversations for us to have as a studio around that. The second clear area of opportunity for us is user-generated content, he explained. RTS is such a rich history of UGC, and already with the first early release of our UGC tool, there's been a tremendous amount of activity and creativity evident from the community. There are a variety of partners who I think could really help us capitalize and double down on that. But I think it's fair to say the future for Frost Giant and the future for Stormgate really depends on us finding a good partner. Otherwise, we will have no choice but to contract. It's an ominous statement, not least because Frost Giant currently has 48 employees on its books. Morten said that the scale of the layoffs will depend on how much revenue the studio manages to generate, but confirmed Stormgate isn't delivering a large return at the moment. And then it goes into the money aspect of this. And this is actually what I really wanted to focus on. Frost Giant Studios struggles to realize vision for Stormgate after raising almost $40 million for this game, which is an absurd amount of money for a smaller styled RTS. That's a lot of money. And I'll bring it back over here. $40 million. Frost Giant raised just under $40 million since breaking cover in 2020. And we asked Morten where that investment has been spent. Far and away, the single biggest spend is the cost of the developers who build the game. Now, on average, I would say, based off the location, if they're in California, which I assume they are, or the vast majority of them are, you're looking at a lead dev making anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year. And I'm not even exaggerating. Lower level devs, but still high up, are making somewhere between 150 and 300 a year. And then the QA and everyone else, marketing, stuff like that, is making far less, obviously. But that money goes fast when you're getting these very high level devs. $500,000 a year for multiple devs on top of CEOs and all this other stuff. It's like that money's gone quick. That dwarfs anything, he said. I think people like to talk about making a single cutscene, or people like to talk about having celebrities in the game, but those costs are nothing compared to the cost of headcount over half a decade period of time. The budget that we raised at $40 million is a tiny fraction of what it would cost to build a new StarCraft inside Blizzard today. I don't know the numbers that it cost to build Age of Empires recently or any other big publisher releases, but I'm very confident that it's higher than what we spent on Stormgate. I think people hear a number like 40 million and think, wow, that's so much money. It's a lot, but it's really not. When you're trying to make a game on the level of StarCraft, it's going to go fast. But the truth is, to build games of this scope and this quality requires more money. Morten confirmed Frost Giant stuck to budget on Stormgate, but says he would have liked to raise additional funds because his vision for the project was, and indeed remains, so large. He believes that in a world where Frost Giant had been able to raise capital against its vision, a different outcome would have been likely, but acknowledges that in the current climate, indie developers must keep a tight focus. We had to face constricting capital, he continued. We had to face fragmentation and player attention in unheard of numbers of games being launched on Steam year on year. Guys, I got to take a break here and say, this is cope. Your game is releasing to mixed reviews, bro. I'm sorry. Like, this is a full stop moment here. And be like, hey guys, it's because there's so many games releasing on Steam. That's why our numbers are dwindling. If your game is not received well by the community, it will falter and fail. Don't try to blame it on other games coming out. Like, holy shit. This is like saying, I really wanted to date an attractive girl, but there's just so many guys out there that want to date attractive girls that I'll just never get an attractive girl. Like, bro, take some fucking accountability. Work on yourself. Make yourself marketable. Make people want to play your game. What the hell is this? We're in a place now where really excellent games like Wildgate from publisher Dreamhaven and Supervive from Theorycraft, which are getting high review scores and are delivering fantastic gameplay to players, are not achieving the scale that I would expect. Okay, what about Schedule 1? How's Schedule 1 doing? How's the player scale on that one? How's Expedition 33 doing? Like, maybe what you're comparing yourself to are games that the audience is not taking too well. And maybe you need to focus on what people want to play. Morten claimed that there are still opportunities for indie developers, but they might need to look towards new frontiers in order to make ends meet. There are still opportunities for indies. Yeah, exactly. Like, I wonder how Silksong's going to do, bro. Like, that's going to break every record for any indie game ever when that comes out. They're just different opportunities. What I see in the, not every indie game ever, by the way. I mean, we got Minecraft and other stuff like that. But you know what I mean. It's going to sell a lot. They're just different opportunities. What I see in the market today is that very small teams with very low cost who focus on a tight vision and differentiation, they can still succeed, he added. Would you look at that? He finally realized what's important about a video game. It only took $40 million in a failed studio to be like, oh, wait, we didn't need to go balls to the wall with all the money and all the teams and everything. We just needed a good vision of a fun game and build from that. Wild. I know. Crazy, crazy. I think UGC is exploding, particularly Roblox, but also UEFN and even platforms like CurseForge and mod.io. I think there are some exciting opportunities there. Then I think the companies that have evergreen franchises and therefore a stable base of revenue will continue to try to innovate farm, will continue to make excellent games. Wait, does that even make sense? Then I think companies that have an evergreen franchise that have evergreen franchises and therefore a stable base of revenue will continue to try to innovate farm, will continue to make exciting games. Okay, I guess that doesn't really make sense, but okay. But to me, those are clear opportunities. And then there's this AI wildcard that some of us are trying to, that all of us are trying to figure out. We'll have more from Morten on that rather divisive subject on a later date. I will say, I agree with him on this one. And this is the biggest thing that I don't think anyone's talking about. The AI wildcard of what is going to happen with the game industry in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years. I strongly, firmly, wholeheartedly, whatever the word is you want to use, it's going to flip the game industry upside down. The entire business model of these multi-billion-dollar corporations are going to be confused, we'll just say. It's going to level the playing field. Indies are going to have a lot more power at their hands. And it will, in a weird way, get back to the focus of making games great and what people want to play, no matter where it comes from, and get away from pouring infinite money into these games and get away from the Concords and the like. Because this situation with Stormgate, this goes way back. I mean, they had a Kickstarter where they raised $2.3 million with 28,000 backers. They have the game came out to middling reviews. People were not excited about it at all after it launched. And then after they already had the internal investors, they were like, yeah, we need more money. After we got 36 million, we need a couple more million. So they got nearly $40 million to put Stormgate together. And still, it falters. And again, maybe it's the game environment, but I don't know how much you can blame it on that. At the end of the day, they got to take some accountability and say, maybe there's just no appetite for this game. Maybe the people playing StarCraft played StarCraft because it was original, or it did something very unique in the RTS genre that no other game did. And it was great. It was peak. Too many companies, too many individuals, too many developers come from these companies perfecting a great game. And then the first thing they do is leave that company to start a new company and then go back to doing the same damn game that they were doing at the other company that was successful. What makes you think you're going to make a better game than what that AAA company was working on for decades on? How is that even possible? So am I shocked? No, I'm not. In fact, the only thing that shocks me is that this company is still in business right now. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, good point. It's a free game on Steam. It's a free to play game, and people are still not taking to it. So that should tell you all you need to know right there. They can't even get an audience of people to play it for free. Yeah, yikes. Almost like they should have charged money for it if some of the people are saying that the microtransactions are what detracts from it. Weird how that works.